Didn't have a cell phone. I had a BlackBerry. And I guess I did have a cell phone, but it just really wasn't a smartphone. I had limited data usage and things like that, and the phone in my house used to ring, and we actually ran for it when it rang. I don't know how many of you still do that. Think about the changes in computers in size, style, and capacity, and what they looked like, very, very big and clunky, and now they're very slim and light. Earphones. They used to have wires, imagine. Watches. What's a watch? I mean, outside of an Apple Watch, I don't think my two children have ever worn a watch or cared to or looked for one. I certainly don't wear my watch anymore. Online degrees in 2009 were a little, you had an online degree, people looked at you a little like, really? Where is that school? And now, online degrees are the way of education for many, many people, especially advanced degrees. Online public education, never thought I would see that. But because of COVID, we have all seen that. We talked about cell phones a little bit. Hybrid work and fully remote work environments, which are becoming much more the norm, where in 2009 they were basically the exception. Online medicine. I was sick the week before Christmas and had 2 different online doctor appointments, which never would have had in 2009, right? And then let's just talk about fashion trends, right? Velvet tracksuits were in 2009, as were oversized hoop earrings. I wore mine for longer than 2009, but I had to let them go. And then multicolored tights, which should have been illegal in 2009, but they weren't. And low-rise jeans, right? So things have changed quite a bit. So one of the things that we do each year as a district is get together and have a board retreat, and we establish goals for the district. The first 2 goals we had, one was about focusing on constructivist teaching, learning, and leading, and the second goal was about access and equity. But the third and fourth goals, third is developing the profile of the new Milford graduate. And then the fourth one was to share the mission and to revise the mission and vision. And I have to say that in honesty, when we first set these goals, which was in the summer of 2022, I didn't realize that the profile of the new Milford graduate would be so closely connected to mission and vision. Because essentially, the profile of a new Milford graduate is the vision. It's what you see at the end. And it wasn't until I attended a workshop on how to develop the profile of a graduate that I realized this. And the mission, then, is how you get there. So these will actually be slightly revised when we meet again in the summer, because the hope is we will have the profile developed. We won't need a vision, because that will be it. And everything that we do to achieve that becomes part of the mission. So I just wanted to share that with you. If any of you are followers or fans of Simon Sinek, whom I happen to love, who's from Bergen County, ironically, was educated here, he talks at length about the importance of explaining to people your why. Why are we doing something? Because it has to have some meaning. So I wanted to talk to you about why this is important, why we need to do it, and why I'm here speaking to you and to the people at home. So the profile of a graduate focuses on the end result. And in education, you will often hear us talking about beginning with the end in mind. It's a basic premise of what we call understanding by design, thinking about where we want to end and then working backwards from that end. And that's the basic premise of any unit or of any course at any grade level. It's how the state standards are developed in any subject area. You say, by the end of this unit, I want my students to be able to know and do this, and I'm going to work backwards to develop plans so that we can get them there. As educators, we identify what students need to know and be able to do when they complete a unit of study, a course, or a grade. And through backwards design, we structure plans to achieve those goals. So therefore, it makes perfect sense to establish a shared understanding of the knowledge and skills that students should possess and be able to do when they leave school after graduation. And it also makes sense to include as many community members in that conversation as possible. So together, we would construct a community-wide vision of that graduate and create a mission for the changes that are needed to make it come to fruition. A profile of a graduate extends beyond the traditional work of schools, and it integrates 21st century skills, character traits, social and emotional competencies that students need to succeed in college, career, and life. And a good profile builds confidence, enthusiasm, and growth, and advances the skills necessary to be successful in our interconnected global world. 3 years ago today, we were just 2 weeks from shutting down for COVID. It was March 13th, 2020. We sent students home with 2 weeks worth of packets. And we were like many, many other districts in New Jersey and across the nation who were not one-to-one still. And or even if districts were one-to-one, probably weren't one-to-one in kindergarten and preschool. And we sent students home with stapled 2 weeks worth of packets because we thought we'd have a 2-week wipeout and everybody was coming back. Sort of crisis mode, right? For the nation, for the world, for the state, for the Department of Education. And very, very quickly, we had to adapt, we had to mobilize, and we had to get ourselves ready for homebound virtual teaching and learning. So who did well? The tech-ready districts, the tech-ready homes with internet, the tech-ready students who were familiar and had access, students of a certain age because they could learn that way, right? Teachers who were very tech-savvy, who were already integrating technology in their classrooms, maybe did a little bit better than teachers who were more traditional in their practices, right? The adaptable did well. Who did not do well? Those who weren't so adaptable, those who were not able to quickly make the shift, make the change, those who resisted the shift, the change, those who didn't believe that this was going to be our lives for the next 6 months, or in some cases a year and 6 months in some places, right? We learned that our students who were English language learners struggled. Our youngest students struggled. Our students with disabilities struggled. And we learned that just sometimes very high-performing students struggled because it wasn't the way they learned best. And some students who struggled actually learned much better in isolation because they preferred it that way. I mean, we really learned a lot about ourselves and our students and our habits during that time. So it's very important to think about how when we educate our students for what we want them to know and be able to do when they leave us, that they leave us adaptable, so that if there's ever any other incident like this, I can't imagine that you'd ever be in any workplace. I mean, this room, for example, you had a flood, right? You had a broken pipe and a flood, and you had to roll with it. You had to find places to have your meetings. You had to be adaptable, and you had to make it work. And that's just sometimes what life throws at you, and our students have to be ready for that. And I think that's probably, for me, the greatest piece that's lacking in the current profile or current mission. So what is a profile, right? And how is it different, let's say, from a mission? So I got this from Ken Kay on Edutopia. I have a lot of information in this presentation tonight from Edutopia, just so that you know. A graduate profile is a document that a school or district uses to specify the cognitive, personal, and interpersonal competencies that students should have when they graduate. It is co-created, which is very important, with input from key stakeholders. And this profile is a clear vision of priority goals for teaching and learning that can be easily communicated to students and parents and faculty and staff to align their collective efforts. So until you identify and prioritize these competencies for your school or district, you won't necessarily have a shared vision of your destination. And the reason I'm here tonight is because I want to appeal to parents, families, adults, even people who aren't parents, adults in the community who maybe do not have children in the school district, because we want to hear from those people as well when we are developing this profile. So this is the how, okay? 3 key steps. The first would be identifying the most important cognitive capacities that are foundational throughout all classes and experiences, right? So content mastery, critical thinking, problem solving, civic literacy, a variety of literacies, for example. Then 2, determine the personal competencies that are valued the most at home and at school. And those are things like adaptability and flexibility, self-direction and initiative, which, I link to like the dishes in the sink. Self-direction and initiative. Well, did you see the dishes in the sink? You saw them. You know they need to make it into the dishwasher. Could you take some initiative? So it's like at home and school when I think of these things. Productivity and accountability, metacognition, thinking about your thinking, right? Resilience, tenacity, self-love, and kindness. And the third piece of the profile is deciding which interpersonal competencies are the most essential for collaboration and community building in our school spaces and beyond to higher education, career, and life. And those are things like emotional intelligence and empathy and the ability to communicate well and in a variety of forms, entrepreneurship, service to others, things like that. Those are the 3 overarching domains of the profile of a graduate. And the process. So the process is detailed, but I ask you to take a close look at the first 2 bullets here, because those are the ones that most closely relate to the people maybe who are watching at home and those of you here. Is survey as many school community members as possible. So that is students, faculty, staff, parents, administrators, Board of Ed trustees, and representatives from the broader community. And we ask you all to please participate when that survey comes out, and I will ask the mayor to help me with that, getting the word out. And then assemble an inclusive and representative advisory group. So within that survey, you ask people if they want to be part of a working group where we review the surveys and roll up our sleeves and do the work. And we give people the opportunity to say yes or no to that. Yes, I just want to answer the questions and go on. Or, you know what, I have time to do this. I would like to participate in this project. And then, we go through the rest of the steps. Decide what's important. Determine based on the feedback from the entire New Milford school community what they value. And then we create a draft. Essentially, we create a draft, we seek feedback on the draft, we make recommendations to the board for adoption, and then once the board adopts the profile, we essentially market and promote the profile. And it's more than just, I'm not a marketing person. I'm not the kind of person that's like, oh, you need to brand your district. You need to brand your leadership style. You need to brand this. I'm not really into that. I think it's a little bit hokey, and I like there to be substance to things. So I don't want anybody to mistake the promotion of the profile with some sort of cheesy branding, because that's not what we're looking to do. But we are looking to create a North Star, so that when people ask why we're doing something that we are doing, we can easily say, because the community said this is important, it's important to its children, to its graduates, and we are doing it to help develop this or to help advance that. And so it becomes our North Star, essentially. Oh, wow. I went through that more quickly than I thought I was going to. Okay, great. So I will open it up. Questions? If anybody has any questions, Mayor, is there a process you want to use for this question period, a Robert's Rules thing, or do you want to just let me take questions? How would you?
Take questions.
Okay. Council? Feedback? No.
They're all going to be a part of the survey.
Of course they are. Of course they are. And if I could just quickly.
I'll definitely post.
I know you will. The survey will be quick. It won't be long. It'll be digital. It'll be quick. And you'll be able to do it, through your email, through an email link. Yes?
And mostly people that kids in the school system at this time? Or
Well, the reason I'm here tonight is because I'm trying to target people in the New Milford community who don't have children in the school system right now. So it could either be young families whose children haven't entered the school system, people who graduated from New Milford and still live here, recent graduates, people who've never had children, people who are new to the community and just want a voice in what the school system should value because they're taxpayers and they believe that they have something worthwhile. And I'm assuming that we'll have a variety of different types of contributors. I would be happy to also include business owners, maybe who are not residents of the community, but who own businesses in the community and who support the schools all the time. So I would open it to all of those people, and we will ask them in the survey what their connection to the school district is. Yes. Yes.
Well, thank you, but also thinking of several families that have kids in private schools.
Yes.
As well, of course.
I would also like them to contribute because if they are sending their children to private school, I would like to know what it is that they would like to see in the profile of a New Milford graduate that would make them not choose our school. And if it's something that I could potentially offer, obviously I can't, people choose parochial schools, they choose them for certain reasons, which we can't offer in public school, but I'd love to hear from them. Absolutely. No, there's nobody, I don't want people from just Paramus answering, but if you have a connection to the school community. Yes. Yes.
How will you distribute the survey?
Digitally. So what I would like to do is be able to offer the variety of surveys in links, community member survey, parent of a current student survey, faculty survey, and then digitally put them on, let's say, the Borough Hall website, our website. Parents are easy because I can get them through, our mail system. I would also offer paper copies that we could leave in maybe some specific targeted areas for maybe some people who are not as comfortable with technology but would like to participate. So we can certainly leave paper copies and like a drop-off box maybe here, or if you have suggestions for other places, I'm open, maybe the police department, places where we can leave the library. I'm just thinking, I'd be happy to do that. That would make perfect sense. Now I know we also have a great relationship, the high school has a great relationship with the seniors. And we invite them in for different things. And so I will definitely go through that group as well. Okay. I'd like to thank Dan for helping me out tonight with technology. Dan's the man. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, and can I just say this for everybody in town? If anybody has any questions or concerns, my email is dshanley, DSHANLEY, at nmpsd.org, nmpsd.org. My phone number is 201-261-2952, extension 1125. So I'm happy to answer any questions or follow up, and I will, I'll send a copy of this to you so you can post it. Okay? I absolutely will, and I will be sharing this with the board as well on the 15th, our next meeting. and with the faculty.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
And I'll show you. Now I know. It's this little one around it. Yeah? Now I know what it is. What am I doing?
I took another 2-minute break so I can do it.
I hope the council doesn't take this the wrong way. If I had an hour life, I'm a little worried about it.
Oh, I can, yeah, I was gonna say, I don't want to break anything. Thank you so much. Right.
Bye, everyone. Thanks so much. Thank you. Good to see you. You too. Stay home.
And then there was one.
Are you
Very expensive one, please. I don't have an hour ride.
It could be 15 minutes. That's true. Unless one raindrop falls. Then it's an hour. You good?
I'm sorry?
At this doors?
You can go off. Yes.
Is it?
No, it's not.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good night. Good night.
Pleasure, staff.
Oh, here we go. Sure. Thank you.
We're the happiest thing we ever saw was one of those cars coming
No, I
out.
know.
The teacher was not going to do teaching that day. It's still the
Yeah.
same equipment today.
For one person.
That's the way I can't.
The happiest day was the day you saw one of those carts wheeling in, because you knew there was no lecture that day, nothing, you were going to watch a movie or film strip.
It's the same card.
I try to explain to kids, film strips.
They couldn't contact with our chef. Well, congratulations on your son. He's doing well.
You know, one more weekend.
For what?
Drexel.
Nice. Congrats.
He's a state champion.
We'd like to resume our meeting. Once again, thank you to the superintendent for making that presentation. The next thing on the agenda is appointments. May I get a motion to appoint Noel Carpenter and Devin Ryan to the New Milford Municipal Alliance Committee?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations and thank you very much. It's always great to see young people getting involved. Okay, under unfinished business, may I get a motion for the approval of the minutes from the February work session meeting? What is the February meeting?
17th. On the 13th, sorry.
February 13th, work
So
session meeting.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Abstain.
One abstention. We have a few ordinances on for adoption tonight, and when the clerk gets the opportunity, I would ask her to please read ordinance 2023:09.
An ordinance to amend the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Milford entitled Salary, adopted as ordinance 9101 and amended annually by ordinance up to and including ordinance 2022-08.
This is our yearly salary ordinance, and it actually sets the ranges for every position in the borough. May I get a motion to open up to the public for a public hearing on this ordinance?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ladies and gentlemen of the public, if anyone has any questions or comments about this ordinance, now would be your opportunity. Seeing that there is no one from the public that wishes to speak on this ordinance, I would ask for a motion to close to the public.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? May I get a motion to adopt this ordinance on its final reading?
Motion. Second.
May I get a roll call, please?
Yes. Councilman Sanuzin.
Yes.
Councilman Saraki Hurley.
Yes.
Council President Duffy.
Yes.
Councilman Grodzki.
Yes.
Councilman Seymour.
Yes.
Councilwoman Grant.
Yes.
Okay, the next ordinance on our agenda for adoption tonight is 2023:10. And when the clerk has the opportunity, I would ask her to please read the ordinance.
Capital ordinance to appropriate the sum of $337,995 for the acquisition of radio equipment for the use of the fire department, in line for the Borough of Milford in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, and providing that such sum so appropriated shall be raised from a federal grant and from the Capital Improvement Fund of the borough.
Okay, this appropriates we had a grant award for $321,900. We want to thank Congressman Gottheimer, and we also want to thank just the firefighter grants program. This is amazing. Our fire department really needed it, and $16,095 is from our own Capital Improvement Fund for fire department radios. May I get a motion to open to the public for a public hearing on this ordinance?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ladies and gentlemen of the public, if anyone has any questions or comments on this ordinance, now would be your opportunity. Seeing that there is no member of the public that wishes to ask a question or comment, I would ask for a motion to close to the public.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Motion to adopt. Second.
Make it a roll call, please.
Councilwoman Sanuzin.
Yes.
Councilwoman Saraki Hurley.
Yes.
Council President Duffy.
Yes.
Councilman Grodzki.
Yes.
Councilman Seymour.
Yes.
Councilwoman Grant.
Yes.
Next one is ordinance 2023:11. And when the clerk has the opportunity, I'd ask her to please read the ordinance.
An ordinance to amend Chapter 2 of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Milford entitled Administration to revise Section 2-54B, Restrictions on Awarding of Contracts to Certain Business Entities.
Okay, this ordinance amends the existing ordinance to remove references to county political parties. May I get a motion to open to the public for a public hearing on this ordinance?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ladies and gentlemen of the public, if anyone has any questions or comments regarding this ordinance, now would be your opportunity. Seeing that there is no member of the public that wishes to ask a question or comment on this ordinance, I would ask for a motion to close to the public.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? May I get a motion to adopt this ordinance on its final reading?
So moved. Second.
May I get a roll call, please?
Councilwoman Sanuzin.
Yes.
Councilwoman Saraki Hurley.
Yes.
Council President Duffy.
Yes.
Councilman Grodzki.
Yes.
Councilman Seymour.
Yes.
Councilwoman Grant.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to new business. We have an ordinance introduction. It would be ordinance 2023:12. And when the clerk gets the opportunity, I'd ask her to please read the ordinance.
An ordinance to amend Chapter 2 of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Milford entitled Administration to repeal Section 2-54A entitled Health Benefits for Retirees.
Okay, so this will repeal an ordinance that is inconsistent with collective bargaining agreements and New Jersey state laws. May I get a motion to introduce this ordinance on its first reading?
Motion. Second.
May I get a roll call, please?
Yes. Councilwoman Samuelson.
Yes.
Councilwoman Siraki Hurley.
Yes.
Council President Duffy.
Yes.
Councilman Grotzky.
Yes.
Councilman Seymour.
Yes.
Councilwoman Grant.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to have a public hearing on this ordinance at our March 13th meeting. Okay, moving on to new business, schedule updates. Sunday, March 5th is New Milford's annual Black Balloon Day. It is sponsored by the New Milford Municipal Alliance. It will be held from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the front steps of the New Milford Borough Hall. This is a rain or shine event. On Wednesday, March 22nd, New Milford will be holding its first Ramadan lighting. It is sponsored by the New Milford Mayor and Council. It'll be at 7 p.m. at the New Milford Borough Hall. There is also no rain date. And was there any other borough events that I missed that anyone would like to bring forward at this time?
Mayor, just wanted to point out the Municipal Alliance, I've learned, is partnering with the New Milford Police Department and the PTO of David E. Owens to present Retro Night on March 10th from 7 to 9 p.m.
What is it called?
Retro Night?
What is it? What is it?
I believe it's just a night of music and fun, dancing.
That's the police department. Who else?
PTO from David E. Owens and the Municipal Alliance.
Sounds like something DJ Mel has something to do with it.
You might. I've heard that rumor.
Excellent. And I guess we will mention, as the superintendent did, that March 2nd is Dr. Seuss Day. And I know some of us will be once again reading in the schools, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to be wearing the striped hat. So I'm looking forward to it. Okay. Next item is a budget update from our budget committee and our administrator.
Thank you, Mayor. The Budget Committee has provided a draft budget to the auditor to have the numbers dropped into the budget document, and the committee will be meeting this week to discuss the draft budget with the auditor to look for any areas that can be adjusted prior to bringing it to the governing body for their review, which we will be doing at our March work session. As noted, there are several areas not in the borough's control that are seeing significant increases, such as pension fund obligations, insurance, garbage, and utilities.
Does anyone have any questions or comments about item number 2? Item number 3 is BCOS Park Improvement FY23 Application Administrator.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I mentioned that the letter of intent for the Bergen County Open Space application is due on April 14th. We did talk within the few departments between Recreation, the DPW, and I spoke with the mayor as well. And we came up with the project for lighting fixtures for the Barber Field.
Yes.
Okay. And I checked with Bergen County Open Space to make sure it was eligible because they talk about the installation. She says that they are eligible as it falls under improvement of existing parks. And the new fixtures will improve the energy efficiency. The reason that we looked at this project is that the system now that we have is not energy efficient and that there are already 20 bulbs that need to be replaced. So we looked at the cost to do this. There are currently some very nice rebates from public service, but depending on the timing of the grant and when we're able to move forward with the project, you know, it could range from between $33,000 to $66,000. So we probably will apply for the entire amount and hope for the best with the rebates. And it's a matching grant, so they would be picking up half of it and we would be picking up the other half out of our open space. So I just wanted to mention that to everybody to see if anybody had any questions or if there were any other things that we wanted to discuss prior to preparing that letter of intent.
Nothing. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's a great project. It fits the price point, and we need to fix the lights up at the Barber Field, also known as the Gateway Field. We want to make the best use of the fields we have, and this is a good way to do it. Item number 4 is the administrator's report.
Thank you, Mayor. For the engineering update, the Madison Avenue sidewalks, which has been ongoing for years at this point, and we've had some issues with the DOT and the DEP. The DOT grant was rescinded last week, and we are in touch with the DOT and working with our local legislator to determine a path forward for that project. The NJDOT culvert DEP flood hazard area application is under review by the DEP. The engineer is going to submit additional information to the DEP this week. The Sutton Place tennis court lighting, the night study was completed and the system is operational. New Jersey DOT Boulevard and graphic traffic signal, the DOT has reviewed the plans and provided comments, and the engineer is addressing the comments and will be resubmitting this week to the DOT. Fowler Drive Community Development Road Project, the design is complete and the notice to bidders will be published this Thursday with a return date for bids on March 14th. The NJDOT Municipal Aid for Cedar Road, the design is complete and the plans have been submitted to the DOT for approval prior to bid. Currently, grant applications for Reichelt Road through the Community Development Program, Prospect Park through the DCA, and Main Street through DOT have been submitted, and we are awaiting the outcome of these applications. Next on my report, I mentioned at our last meeting that mandatory cybersecurity training is underway for all borough employees and board members that have borough email addresses. Please remind board members to complete this mandatory training. We're currently at 65%. We need 100. In anticipation of the inclement weather, both Borough Hall and Senior Center will open on a delayed schedule tomorrow at 10 a.m., February 28th. And our next meeting is scheduled for Monday, March 13th. That's it for me, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for our administrator?
I have a question. Is there a question down
Yes.
there? Please?
No. Do you have a question? No. Go ahead.
I was just curious if there was a projected installation date for the Graphic Boulevard light project.
Traffic light?
Yeah, you leave it to the summer.
Yeah, we're looking at,
Unless I heard it July, late July.
So it would be completed by the end of the summer, before the end of the summer.
we're anticipating construction starting in July with the possibility of completing construction in October.
Oh, okay. I was curious how long the construction was going to be.
Yes.
Thank you.
Moving on to resolutions. Has everyone had a chance to review the resolutions? Are there any that need to be pulled for further discussion and or vote? Take that as a no. Move on to council committee reports. I need a motion to file committee reports with the borough clerk to be spread in full upon the minutes.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and we will go around real quick to see if there are any highlights with anyone's committees or commissions. And we're going to start with Council President Duffy.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm sorry I missed our last council meeting due to the Valentine's Day rush. I was unable to attend, but I was busy during the month. The mayor and I met at Company 1 and 2 of the fire department just for a quick tour of general conditions and maintenance requests. So we put together a list for each of the companies. During the Board of Health, I'm pleased to say we have hired a public health nurse, a Borough resident, Kathleen Flanagan, and she has begun her part-time tenure with us. So I would like to wish her well. And she's very excited to have joined the team, so good on that. Also a PS, I will be meeting with Vince Cahill regarding the landscape plans for the Knights Field area, if anybody has any requests or ideas, please send an email or give me a buzz. That's it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Councilwoman Singh.
Thank you, Mayor. So, quickly, the Environmental and Energy Commission meets on Tuesday, March 7th at 7 p.m. at Borough Hall. The meeting's open to the public. They'll be discussing reviewing the environmental resource inventory interim draft, and they're going to be working on some dates to do some programming at New Milford Woods for Earth Day and to go in coincide with the environmental resource inventory project as well. The Green Team meets Tuesday, March 14th at 7 p.m. at Borough Hall. They'll be presenting at the New Milford Women's Club on Wednesday, March 15th, and they are working on sustainable jersey certification, organizing actions. And I'm complete. I have another project that Councilwoman Grant is going to be speaking about that one.
Okay. Councilwoman Siraki.
Thank you, Mayor. Just to reiterate what I've said in the past in regards to the cemetery here in town, I think I've discussed the gentleman who, thank you, the gentleman who preserves tombstones and other buildings. So we have tried working on a date, which will be in May. The weather should be warmer. The seniors are very excited to meet with him and have a lecture. So hopefully we're going to be doing that, like I said, in May when the weather's warmer, either the second or the third weekend of the month. We'll find out. We're already speaking to him and he's coming up with a date. So that could be kind of exciting because he actually does a show and tell as well as what he does. So I think it's exciting what happens to these tombstones. But
He's very skilled. His name is Bob Carpenter, and I've seen his work and I've met him, and we're very lucky to have him involved in this project.
yes, extremely lucky. He's very well known. So that should be exciting, and hopefully I'll have a date at our next meeting. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Councilman Grassi.
Thank you, Mayor. As we just witnessed, we have a new police officer. Also, DPW has pulled out got the dust off of the plows and are waiting anxiously to get out there and plow the roads. Other than that, that's it from my vantage point. Thank you.
Thank you. And big kudos to the police department for the AAA Gold Award for traffic safety. We've been working on traffic stuff for a long time, so this is good. That's really good. Councilman Seymour.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a reminder for everybody that registration for spring softball and spring recreation soccer is open. And I encourage people to sign up quickly because before we know it, registration will close. The New Milford Flood Advisory Committee is working very hard and is preparing a report with recommendations to this governing body, which they will be providing to us in the coming weeks, which I look forward to receiving and reading and reviewing with everybody. And although it's not a borough matter, I'm humbled to let everyone know that for the second year in a row, our domestic violence symposium panel has been invited by Ramapo College to present a spring symposium on college intimate partner violence, and that symposium will be on Tuesday, March 28th. At Ramapo College at 6 p.m. in the trustees pavilion.
Anyone else?
That's it, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Councilwoman Grant.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilwoman Lisa Sanhusen and I have been working with Arts Bergen on an application for a grant that combines the environmental issues with art. And I'm happy to announce that the grant was awarded and more information will be forthcoming in the future. But I will tell you that we will be having 3 benches placed in 3 areas of town. Each bench will have a theme, and a call will go out for artists. And based on their presentations, we will select 3 artists, And I'm hoping that this will be done during this, probably late spring or during the summer. So look forward to more information. The library is doing really well. All the programs fill up incredibly fast, and the children just love it there. The planning board is talking about the master plan. We'll be talking about it all year and into next year. But at our last meeting, the borough's planner and planning board's planner, Paul Greigel, came to our meeting and discussed the procedures. So look forward to more information on that as well as the year progresses. And as an aside, at our last meeting, the Bergen County Planning Board re-elected me chair. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you. Congrats.
This time I would ask for a motion to open up to the public. It's public comment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ladies and gentlemen of the public, if anyone has any questions or comments about New Milford, now is your opportunity.
It's pretty crowded out there.
A lot of pressure.
Seeing that there are no members of the public that wish to ask any questions or comments at this time, I would ask for a motion to close the public.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. May I get a motion to adopt resolutions 2023:86 to 2023:89?
Motion?
90, I'm sorry. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. At this time, we are going to be going into closed session. When we come out of closed session, we will not take any action, and we will immediately adjourn this meeting. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us tonight, and be safe with the weather that is coming, and careful shoveling and driving.
And fair warning for shoveling, the snow's supposed to be very heavy and wet.
Thank you.
You're welcome, thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Making a motion to close.
Motion to close?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?